Jesus Caballero, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
Where are you from and
Okay.
how did you end up here in Canada, in Vancouver?
All right, so I am from Mexico. I was born in a very small town called Coatzacoalcos in the state of Veracruz. But then I moved up to Monterrey with my family when I was 8, Monterrey, Mexico as well. And I lived there for about 15 years before coming here to Canada in 2010 to study music, jazz studies at Capilano University in North Vancouver. And yeah, it's a 4 year program degree. And yeah, because I have always been so in tune with music. And I started to play drums when I was 12. And so yeah, like we usually start playing rock and then, okay, now I want to play metal. And then, okay, what's after metal? Okay, progressive rock. And then, okay, what's after progressive rock? And then I met my mentor in Monterrey, a fantastic drummer and improviser, Milo Tames, whom I saw play at a concert, and I was totally blown away. And I said, okay, I need to introduce myself to him. And yeah, so I started to take lessons with him, and he introduced me all these different languages on the drums, how to orchestrate, improvise, and so on. Because jazz music, like there's a lot of improvisation involved in it, and also in jazz, like there's even more different genres of music in the style because it's mostly more improvised music, right? And so yeah, I might have gotten a little away from the question, but yeah, that's how I got here. Yeah.
And why the drums? Like what make you inclined towards like drums specifically?
Because of a Mexican rock band actually, Mana.
Oh.
And so yeah, the drummer Alex Gonzalez, like I would be like so happy and blown away every time that I would see him play at concerts because my dad would take me to a lot of concerts actually in Mexico in like many different styles of music, and he would show me videos at home. Well, with laser disc, like even before Blu-ray disc and all of that. So yeah, he's the one who introduced me to music. So when I saw Alex Gonzalez from Mana, I was like, I want to play those songs. I want to play like him. I want to be like him. So yeah, that's like because of Mana, I wanted to learn how to play drums.
Was there anybody in your family like involved in music? Like were there musicians in your family, like your dad, your mom, like somebody close to you? Or that just was just by listening to this group?
That was just by listening to this group and music in general. My dad, he has always been a lot into music, but he never learned how to play an instrument. He actually wanted to start learning how to play bass, but not until I was maybe 15 or 16 years old. Yeah, I'm the only one who is into music like that in my family. My brother started to take guitar lessons at the same time I started to learn how to play drums, but he didn't continue. I was the only one, and I'm still the only one. I have a couple of aunts and uncles who play by themselves, like they have a guitar at home, but they are not in the professional field at all. They don't play concerts, they haven't played in festivals, they haven't played at bars that I know. So yeah, I'm probably the only one.
And now with your kids, are they interested in music at all?
They are all interested in music. Yeah, I introduced like piano and drums to both Aria and Rel, who are my two oldest ones, and they have always been a lot into it. And Anasesi, who is the third, if she gets the chance and the opportunity, she would definitely run directly to the drums and just try to play any drums. And she wants to sit on the drums and she wants to play the drums. And if I have the piano connected to the computer, she wants to play the piano. And as well, like Aria and Raul, like my kids, definitely. And yeah, like my oldest, I think she's the most inclined into art in general, like music, drawing, acting. She has even asked me if I can open a YouTube channel for her, and I'm like, "You're too young, not yet. Like it's not even legal, okay? Not yet." And so maybe she's the one who's gonna be artistic. But again, you never know. Like I was 12 until I wanted to like learn more about music. Maybe my son is gonna get more into music when he's older, but they are very open to any genre of music. Because when I take them to school, like one morning I could put like some 70s rock. Maybe the next morning my 2-year-old daughter might ask me to put some, I don't know, Baby Beluga, like some kid song, and then the radio, and they like current pop music, 80s pop music, rock, jazz, even free improvised music, like avant garde and all of that. They're into it. So yeah, they're very open to all of it.
Have they been in your like concerts, like presentations, like that you do?
Yes, mostly when I play at the jazz festival, my wife takes them. If I do a daytime gig, my wife would take them to go see me play. If it's an open concert.
I have a daughter. She's almost 3. She has been in my office. She has been in my wife's studio. My wife take her every once in a while to an art show, to the art gallery. So she's exposed to that, and that's something that I think is very important. You had the support of your parents, right? What do you think it would happen if you didn't get that support? Do you think today you will be a musician?
It has always been really ingrained, like in my heart, that I wanted to be an artist, that I wanted to play music, and probably if I wouldn't have gotten like that support, I would have like done whatever I can to play as much as I could, even without taking drum lessons. I think I would have even tried to learn by myself, which I did as well. Like even after taking lessons, like the teachers wouldn't teach me how to play songs. No. I had to learn how to play my own songs. The teachers teaches you like how to play rhythm, how to have coordination, how to have a better sound on the instrument. But it's not that common like to learn songs on your first or second year of lessons really from a teacher. You could do it by yourself again. So maybe like I would have tried to do it by myself. And actually, it took my parents 2 years to get me a drum set after my first drum lesson. So I was taking drum lessons for 2 years, but no drums at home. I would just grab pillows and cushions, put them on my bed, and practice the angle of the drums, or imagine that I have a drum set and just play on the pillows, basically, whatever I learned on the lessons. So I was very adamant and very inspired, and I don't know, like yeah, I did want to learn how to play drums. So I don't think I would be in Canada if they wouldn't have supported me. I don't think so, because it's hard to come to Canada. It's hard to to pay for tuition, and it's hard to find accommodation, housing, and so I think it would have been really really hard for me to come just by myself to do that. So I definitely thank my parents a lot for that.
Did you come to Canada and already have the school like set up and everything? So you just came and went directly to the school, or you arrived first and then you were kind of like sorting that out?
No, I did my research, and I found a school in Vancouver, because actually both my dad and my wife, who was my girlfriend back then, like they told me like you should try to find something in Vancouver, because I was already like applying to other schools in the U.S. as well, and or looking for other opportunities, even Europe actually. But then my dad and my wife told me check if there's something in Vancouver. So I found Caballero University. I read through the program. I loved that it was a small school, because that's one of my mentor and his brother, who actually plays guitar, like not Milo but Omar Tames, whom I was also taking like jazz lessons and improvisation lessons, like more in a group setup with other musicians. And they told me the best is to find a school that is not like too big and full of tons of students, because then you wouldn't be able to create relationships with your teachers at the school, and they would just see you as a new student and a factory of students, like just to come and go. But no, like because of that, I decided to look. I found Caballero University. I applied online. I had to come to do an in-person audition. I have to play like in front of the drum teacher and everything. So I came here just for the audition for 1 month. I stayed here for 1 month, and I did the audition. And maybe 1 month or 2 months after it, I got the letter of invitation. Okay, yeah, we definitely want you in the school, so you are welcome to finish all the application paperwork. And if you do decide to come here, you are totally welcome. So that's how I decided. Okay, yeah, I do want to go to Vancouver, because it was my dad's influence, my wife's influence, and a small school. So there were like many factors for me to actually to decide to come.
Kind of like the ideal situation, like
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
was exactly how you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And then once you were here, like how long was the program?
4 years, full time university, like undergraduate studies, because it was not just music courses. Like in order for me to get an undergraduate degree, I had to take a social science course, an English course as well, a science course. So it was definitely full time. Like yeah, Monday to Friday, music homework, even English homework, writing essays, psychology, astronomy, which I love astronomy, by the way. And so yeah, full time, totally, Monday to Friday, not nonstop.
When I met you, you were part of a band that you created, I believe. And was that at a school?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, like so you are in music school, you start to meet other very interesting musicians, young students who also want to get into the music business, and you start to see everyone play because there are monthly recitals. So you have to like play with whatever band you are assigned to play with, and you have to see your peers as well to play. So eventually, like I started to see, oh, I love how this person plays. I love how that other person sings, but also like you have to create good relationships with them. So, like it's really great to be able to make like good relationships and become good friends with someone whom you enjoy to play as well, because there's like those two connections while you are playing. It's not just the musical connection but also the relationship connection. So that's a really big part of it, I would say.
They were also seeing how you were playing, but you are the one that created the band. So you are the one that talked to them, I imagine, like and say, hey, we should do this. Do you have that leadership kind of like a mentality, or is something that you wanted to happen no matter what? So you just took the first step.
Well, I was not thinking like I want to be a leader, but I didn't have that at first. But yes, I did start inviting people to play with me, and then I said, "Oh, I think it will be great if we play a gig," and they said, "Yeah, I think it will be great as well." And okay, I was the one who started that band, but I always told them like, "You are all welcome to put your 5 cents in it as well. Like tell us like what songs you would like to play, what jazz standard do you want to play? Do you want to play an original music, on one of your originals?" And so I was always very open to have like as much diversity in the music, and yeah, like but once it started, like yeah, I was the one like, okay, I'm gonna go and see if we can play on that bar. I'm gonna go and see if we can play at that festival, or I'm gonna go and see if, I don't know, they invite us to play at a theater.
Yeah.
We would get many rejections, but also like other people who would say yes. So, but that's just how you start, basically.
So you were acting also kind of like as a manager. You were like booking like
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what I meant. I didn't mean like you. Oh, I want to be the leader of the. No, it's just like I find sometimes there are people that they. I mean, they probably have the same goals or they wanted to be part of something, but you are the one that took that. You are the one that, yeah, took the step into doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really valuable. I took the photos of, like, I think it was your first album, and I want to talk about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was that with that group, or that was something different?
It was with the same singer who was in that group, but
Okay.
they were all different musicians from that first group.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have actually been working with that singer since school. Like we are still playing together. Yeah, her name is Sarah Kim. She's from Korea, and yeah, no, that album that you're talking about, it's just her and different musicians in it. It's still that's 100% my music on that album, and that was like my first album ever. Like my, I think people could call it my solo album because it's just my material. But yeah, that was back in 2015, I think. 2015, yeah, 2015, because I graduated in 2014, and I was probably into like I had that thought in my mind like I want to do an album, I want to record an album, and then okay, 2015, let's do it, let's go. And so again, like I'm the one who spoke with the person who books sessions at a recording studio. I had to go in person to see if I liked it, and then so yeah, like started to keep up with that.
Is that album like in Spotify or something like that that people can listen to?
Yeah, totally. Solo Picnic is the name of like the artist, what you can find, like the project, and the album 28 Years. That's the name of the album, 28 Years.
Okay.
Which is basically, it took me 28 years to record an album. That's
Very
the meaning
nice.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but when you said Solo Picnic, I was confused because I didn't remember that. But like, yeah, the 28 years, even the what is it? The artwork is like a 28, right?
Yep.
When did you start composing? Because not many. Well, I don't know how many like drummers are composers as well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't imagine many drummers. I don't know why. That might be just like my.
No, it is normal. Yeah.
It is
Like-
normal that they don't compose, or
It's normal that they don't compose, and you're thinking it's normal. Like
Okay,
it's
okay.
It's right. It's
It's
okay.
a little like strange.
Yeah. When did I start writing? Oh, since Mexico, I would say. But back in Mexico, I would try to do my own music on GarageBand, like back then. Because I did study music in Mexico as well. I went to, well, in Spanish, Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León, University of Nuevo León, I would say. And I took classical music there. It was a 5-year program. I didn't finish it because I was always into like more creative music, original music, jazz, improvisations. Hence why I came to Canada to study jazz. And I was able to transfer credits from that classical program into the jazz program here in Canada. And because of those, of that knowledge and theory that I learned in Monterrey, I was able to start writing my own music. And even before that, I would have like some melodies in my head, and I would try to play with GarageBand and see what I can come up with. And yeah, like it would be great to find those files because it's also wonderful to go back and listen to whatever I was thinking back then, I would say. And so yeah, I probably have been writing for maybe 13, 14 years now, I think.
Here in Canada, like in the school, was there any kind of like program or like, I don't know,
Course.
course like specifically to that?
Not specifically for original music, no. There's not a like it's there was no songwriting course or like they would just give us the tools from our music theory classes, and also I took arranging classes like vocal arranging, like for vocal jazz, like for 8 singers plus a jazz quartet to back them up, or big band arranging, which also like hence why we take theory first so that we can apply the theory on all the arranging. And yeah, they would grade us and say if it was a good arrangement. Did we use correct harmonies? Were the harmonies good or not? And so they did great on that. But yeah, like that, I use all of that as a tool for me to write my own music. They also made us take 2 years of piano, which I didn't know that much piano, but I had to take piano as well so that we can use it as a tool in order for us to write our own music, or if we would play with some artists who would invite us and they would send us their own charts of music, and then if I want to know how it sounds, then I can just play it on the piano, not immediately, but I know around like how to play the chords and play the notes. And so yeah, it's all about motivation, and if you want to write music, just go for it and write it. It might be good, it might be bad. That's how I have been learning all this time.
And when you write, I imagine you write for, I mean, what? How many instruments like in your current band right now? What's the name of your group right now?
Oh, okay. My current band, like, okay, I play with different people, but the one I'm most involved with right now is called Omianan, which is basically Nanaimo backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, Sarah Kim is in it, the same singer whom I have been working since going to school. But actually, I was not the one who started the idea of starting the band. Because, like, yeah, Caballero Quartet, like, we spread out because Sarah Kim had, she wanted to go back to Korea, and then Nico, the bass player, had other things in his mind, and Peter Saravale, who played guitar as well, like, he started to do, like, cruise ship work, like, playing music in cruises. And then, yeah, like, suddenly I get a message from Sarah, hey, I'm back from Korea, let's play music again. And I say, yeah, let's do it. And then, like, her and I started to think about, okay, who could play with us, like, who can play bass. And we thought, okay, Nico. I always play with Nico, the bass player who was in Caballero Quartet. We invited Nico, and Nico accepted. And then the hardest part was to find a guitar player, like, who can play guitar. And I remember playing with this guy, his name is Thomas Holler, who actually gave me my first gig in Canada. I remember. He used to live in White Rock, and I took transit all the way from Burnaby to White Rock in order for me to play at a restaurant. And it was free improvised music, actually. It was so interesting. And it was like my first paid gig, but only like top paying. And I was like so proud. My first $5 like from playing music in Canada. So that was really, really cool. And it was because of Thomas Holler. And hence, maybe that's why I remember playing with him and having a good connection, again, like musically and friendship-wise. And yeah, so Sarah and I got Nico and Thomas, and Omianan was born in 2016.
When you write the music, do you do it with the piano, or you just have it in your head and...
Okay. Here comes the beauty about jazz studies. I don't write a specific guitar part. I don't write, like, maybe a little bit of a bass part for the song, but the beauty of it is that if I write the main melody with the name of the chords on top of the melody, like, Thomas would know, like, how to play the chords on the guitar, and Thomas would interpret the song however he wants to interpret it, and he would come with his own part. But there's the chords, there's the melody that Sarah is gonna sing, and so most of the times Thomas and Nico have the liberty of coming up with their own parts because there's the chords. And in improvised music, like, following some rules, like in, like, playing a jazz standard, like, there are some notes that you can play according to a specific chord. And the chord changed. I can change different notes now, and they do that. And there's a lot of improvisation when we play as well. But because they have the chords, they know what notes to use during the improvisation so that it would still sound that everyone is in tune.
There is a range.
Yeah, like range of notes that they can play, like, following a rule in a way. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. But also, yes, there are some written parts that I would do for guitar and bass, but just to create harmonies, like, or maybe a guitar riff that both the guitar and the bass would play a riff together while Sarah would sing a melody with lyrics on top of that. For that, yes, I would use a program. I wouldn't play everything on piano. That would be too hard, like, all the coordination. I would use a program like Sibelius or MuseScore, which is the one that I have on my computer, that you can write notes with the rhythm that I want them to play it, and because of the theory that I know how to play with the riff and the melody and the chord so that it sounds everything properly in tune in the jazz world or the modern world, however you want to see it. And yeah, like maybe there would be like 4 bars of a bass line, and then slashes, which means do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then again, the bass part that I wrote for you, play it again, and then slashes, do whatever you want again. And so it depends really on the song. Like you can tell sometimes if it's a written part or not if you study enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in that case, like, who will be credited as the author of the song, like as the composer, or like, is that you because you wrote the notes, like, or the chords, or
in a way,
how
yeah,
does that
like
work?
if because it's a band. We actually talk about this when we recorded our album, because there's an album by Omianan, which by the way is not just my music. It's a collective band. Like, okay, Sarah and I started it, but the album has my music. It has music written by Sarah and music written by Thomas. But because it's a collective, and because everyone pinches in like their own parts in a way, like we are also kind of part of the composition, but in reality it's whoever write the music. Yes, that's like the main composer. And we were talking about like if we ever get royalties on one of our songs, if we ever get a placement in a TV show or movie, like what are we gonna do? And they all said, no, we can just all split it up like 25% each. And I said, okay, sounds good. So like we could have decided like, no, I want my songs to be mine 100% for me, and you don't get anything. But we all decided to divide the percentage of that.
I think that's smart, especially when you have 4 people creating. Like, I remember when I watched the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. At some point, they started to get like, "Oh, I did this, I did more, I did like." It's just like created like chaos. Obviously, there were other things going on, and then in the movie, they say, "Well, from now on, the songs are by Queen."
Yeah.
So all the songs are by Queen.
Yeah.
We all are part of Queen, so we need to divide it.
Yeah.
And same in films, like there are like shots in 4:30 Maria that I didn't thought about it. I didn't came up with, like, it was just like the director of photography told me, you know what, let's do it this way, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And then when you watch the film at the end, it says, yeah, I wrote the film, I directed the film, but the film is what it is because other people as well were part of that.
That's how it is with Omiana. But if I had to record new music, like only my music, and if I don't want to do it with Omiana and I just want to hire like a trumpet player, a sax player, another guitar, or maybe just piano, a different bass player, like, yeah, they would have their own improvised section for their interpretation, but because it would be only my music, like if I register it in Soken, that would be 100% mine. Because it's only my music, and I'm hiring those musicians. I would pay them for their service to do the recording, and that's it. Okay, bye. So if I ever get a placement with that music, it'll be just for me because I'm the one who wrote it, and I just hire you to play in the album, basically. So that's a different story. That's the other angle, right?
And soaking is like, what is it?
Socan, Socan.
That's where the copyright kind of like for music
in Canada, yeah.
I use a piece of your music in my short film Solitude. I don't know, a year ago or 2 years ago. You told me, hey, I'm doing this, like, just like, and you showed me some samples of music you have made for short films.
Yeah.
When did that happen? When did you start getting interested in that?
Well, again, like as a musician, and because it can be hard as well to find gigs constantly, especially when you start to get more experience, and if you start to play music with other players who are in a way higher caliber than you, and when you play at gigs that you are gonna get a flat rate of payment without mattering if there's one person in the audience or 20. Like, you start to play less in a way, because then you start to be more professional and be considered as a serious musician who like you need to get paid to play the art, right? So once I decided to stop playing in bars, because it's so risky, because when you play at bars, like, okay, you send an application to the booker at the bar, but they always say, okay, you're gonna get paid from the tip jar and covers of tickets sold from the front door for whoever wants to get there. So it was great to get exposure and for people to get to know you. But now, as a more serious professional musician, like, no, I'm going to stop doing that. Only paid gigs, which they don't come that often, to be honest, because I'm not a touring musician. I'm not touring around the world, like getting paid for every single show, going to Europe, US, whatever. Like, I'm here. I want to stay with my family. So because of that, I thought, okay, so I need to get other different revenues, revenues that are still connected to music. And I have always loved films and emotional films, and especially I love spooky films, thriller. I love thriller, but also like science fiction. Like, I'm not close-minded. I love every type of film, but thriller and horror are my favorite genres. So I thought, oh, so what can I do to get into the film industry? So what you were mentioning, like, if I remember, I started to play in GarageBand again, because it has like some like MIDI instruments in there that they sound so fake, like a fake trumpet, fake saxophone. But because I knew now how to orchestrate, I would write a piece of music and orchestrate it in GarageBand, and I would just create that portfolio. But like, I didn't send it to anyone, because again, like, I tried, but because I didn't know how to make it sound real, like, I was not getting like that much of opportunities. I just wanted to learn, like, how can I make this work, and hence why I started to make all those songs. And it was really great that you decided to include that piece in Solitude, because that was my first ever song, like in a short film, let's say, and it was such a great experience to know that you would do it. Thank you for that again.
Oh no, I mean, I was like, I mean, we are always like filmmakers. Especially, we are always looking for music. I have worked with another music composer, Bruce. He will be here on the show, and I love like the music he created. But like, and I also used some of his music on Solitude, and he was the composer of 430 Maria. But I needed another piece for something else, and it happens to be that you send me that. It's like, hey, like, I'm doing this, like, and I was like, oh,
that fits
can I
perfectly.
use this little one?
Yeah.
And then it was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's part of now the music of Solitude, and it would be forever. It's just there.
Yeah. Talking about that, okay, the pandemic hits, and I wanted to learn even more about music production. How can I make them sound better? How can I make them sound like in the movies? Like, how can I do that? And then suddenly I started doing research to find courses, and bang, there's one in Vancouver, actually, in Langara College, called Digital Music Production for Film, TV, and Video Games. That's how I actually learned about how to get the real instrument libraries online. Okay, I have to pay to get the real sound and all the tricks. And I didn't know, but sometimes, like, they would create all the MIDI or orchestration like on the computer, and they would just hire one violin player to record them and to put it on top of the computerized orchestra to make it sound real. Yeah. So, oh god, so that's how you do it as well. And so I was mostly focused on, okay, how to do proper recording, how to do like proper like sound design, and how to like the post-production work after a recording. Like, I wanted to learn how to do that as well. How can I make a song sound like a song in Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, or on a CD, like from the bands that I listen to? How can I make it sound like that? Because I was trying to record myself with some mics that I got from an old friend, and I just couldn't make it happen. Like, how can I do it? So I learned all of that in Langara College. It was all online again in the middle of the pandemic, right when it started in 2020. And right after that, okay, I'm gonna write even more. So I started to write more stuff. And the song that you are including in this podcast that you were talking, that was part of the program that I was taking. So it sounds to me like with more body, like more punch in the drums, and it sounds more real and more. I don't know how you say it, but yeah, that's thanks to the program that I took. And then because I started to build more material from my learnings. I created a new playlist of music, like short music scores, to give an idea to other like film producers, just to see if I can catch something in there. And one time I posted something in I think Vancouver independent film industry on a Facebook group. I posted myself some of my material, and then I got a message from this his name Vincent Lapointe. I don't know if I'm saying it properly. He just released as well an independent short film titled Hurt, Hurt, all capital letters. And I was gonna write the whole score of the whole film, but because there was not enough time, because he wanted to apply to festivals and all of that, I only worked on the final scene, which is the one that I sent you. And that was like my first like real official music score on a film, because I had to look at the scene, write music according to the scene, send him material, and then he would send me back like some notes. Okay, change that. I didn't like that note. Oh, I like that note. Keep doing that. Can you do it just like that? And like, I'm like changing emails, exchanging emails. Eventually, we got WhatsApp as well to send constant messages about that. It's a lot of work to do that, but it was fantastic. So yeah, like my first official score, paid and everything to be in a film. So that was great. Yeah. So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna push myself again. Now I have that scene to see if I can fish something else to write something for someone else. Yeah.
So I just want to clarify the piece that I'm using in the intro is called Without Restriction,
Yes.
and that's the one that you created in Langara. I didn't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
just go through that. Like I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
And when you were writing the music for this film, this one that you just mentioned, were you looking at the image? Like, were
Yeah.
you? Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was. Yeah. And I had to sync whatever musical movement was happening to the seconds of the film in milliseconds, so that
Yeah.
it fits perfectly with everything. So yes, I did all of that.
And did
Yeah.
they give you like a reference? Like, oh, I want it to be
Yes.
similar to this.
Yes. I did get references. First, I wrote something by myself, because he told me, okay, write something by yourself. I'm not going to send you anything. Just let's see what you come up with. And he said, that's perfect. Have that vibe. Now closer to what I'm going to send you. And that's
Okay.
when he sent me something, and I said, oh, okay, so I had to change things. I had to change the scale. Okay, I wrote it major. I'm going to do it minor and more
Okay.
like sad or whatever. And that's how we started working. But yeah, I had the picture in front of me, and yeah, like once the music was done, I would have to tell him, okay, so this wave file that is mixed and master or whatever, like put it in this specific minute, okay, hour, minute, second, copy paste or whatever, drag, start, and that's how we work. Yeah,
Do you know if it's available anywhere that we can see it, or
Not-
is it still going through festivals?
it's still going through that. Yeah, it's
Nice.
not like on Netflix or anywhere online that I know of yet. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm on all the things you do with music, like composing, playing with bands, like teaching as well. Because I think at some point you were teaching.
Yes.
Are you still doing that?
No.
Okay.
I'm done with that. I taught a lot.
And you used to teach kids.
Yeah, like mostly kids. I had like one adult student, and which he was not going to the school where I was teaching. Like I would go to his house, and that was great having that adult student. But yeah, like I think I stopped teaching once the pandemic started. Actually, I think, but also like I was getting tired, like mentally tired, and teaching kids are always in after school hours. So me having 3 kids, I would not see them ever because they would go to school and then they would come out of school, but then I have to go to work from 3:30 until maybe 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So it was also a lot of work, like for my wife and for me mentally. So I just decided, okay, I need to stop. I did it for a really good amount of years, and yeah, like ever since I stopped teaching, I have been more focused and more motivated. I have had more creativity in order to write new material and to focus on new bands that I'm playing with, new soloists that I'm getting hired to play with, and so yeah, I'm not. I don't teach anymore.
Have you followed any of those students to see how they are doing now?
Oh, they are still at the school. They just have a different teacher.
You have played in the jazz festival, Vancouver Jazz Festival.
Yes.
How many times?
Ooh, let me. 5 times.
That's congratulations. That's
Yeah, thank
Is
you.
that like an audition thing, like, or you just how does that work?
Well, there's a lot of my first ever jazz festival gig was actually from the Music from Solo Picnic, and like you have to fill an application. You send the music, the name of your project, a description of your music, and like there's people working at Coastal Jazz who are the ones who organize the jazz festival annually, and like there's people who listen to your music and they decide if yes or no, basically, or maybe your music doesn't fit this festival but it might fit the next one, because every festival is different. They have different artists every year. So yeah, that was the first time. So as a newcomer, like if someone wants to play here, like and if you don't know any of the musicians, if no one knows you, so yeah, just send an application and good luck.
Yeah.
But a really big factor is that I had to go out there. I had to go to shows. I had to meet these musicians who were playing constantly in jazz festivals and get to know them, and also for them to get to know me and ask him, okay, let's jam. Let's just play together. I'll just go to your house or you can come to my house. And again, new relationships start to grow, and eventually like the programmers of Coastal Jazz, like they start to get to know you, they know how to play, and suddenly I would get an invitation without even applying. And sometimes with application, but it's really cool to get like that random invitation. Hey, so yeah, you want to play now? And if I'm playing with a band, like in this project, they would get the invitation, and the leader of that project would send me an email and all the other band members, hey, so I got invited to play in the jazz festival. Can you make it on this date? Do you want to do it? They pay this certain amount of money, and you say, yes, I want to do it. Yeah. So yeah, like some of those times have been with my projects and other times with other people's projects.
Nice.
Yeah, and this year I'm playing with someone else's project. Omiyan is not playing this year. We played last year.
And also, you play in the I forgot the name of those, like those concerts they do at homes.
So far, sounds.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, well, we only did one.
One,
well, yeah. But they do like these independent like concerts where people go without even knowing who's gonna play. Like you can sign up now and say, okay, so you go to sofarsounds.com. They are like an international organization. There's so far in London, Paris, Barcelona, Mexico, Argentina, like everywhere. And so basically you just write down the city where you live at and find out, okay, so there's going to be 3 shows in the next month. You can apply to see if we can invite you to come to the show. I think it's mostly like that, and to see if you are into checking out bands and projects that
Discovering new things. Like,
discovering new things, if you have the mentality, the open to be open-minded to do that, because you just don't know who's gonna play. You just go and let's see if I like it or not. So that's a So Far Sounds show. So for that, I did send an application with videos of us playing live, because they asked for live videos, and yeah, later we got it. So it was great. Yeah.
and that's like an ongoing thing, like the so far that keeps happening.
It keeps
all the
happening.
time.
Yeah. Like it's still happening right now. there might be a show happening right now.
Today.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, today, yeah.
That like the first time I think it was you, the one that mentioned like, or somehow I knew, and I believe it was from you because I know a couple of musicians, but it probably was you. And I remember
Mm.
listening to that and I thought like that's pretty cool. And then I look into the website and was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is.
Yeah.
Like I have never been. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how the experience is, but also I think it would be cool what you said, just to discover
Mm-hmm.
something because it's different when you know what you're getting,
Yeah.
and a lot of times like when you know what you're getting, you kind of like turn like your senses off. Like, you just kind of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know I like this and that's
Yeah.
it. You don't need more.
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't know, you are paying attention the whole time because you're
Mhm.
like, this
Yeah.
is new, and
And
then
it-
it
and it-
surprise you.
And everyone is quiet. Like it's not a
Yeah.
bar. Like they go to see you play and the other two acts. There
Yeah.
might be two. There might be three acts, but they're always quiet, just listening to you. Like the concerts that I now play. Like if I play at a venue right now, I like playing at venues, intimate venues where people just go, they pay their fee, they have their drink, and they just sit down and they don't talk until you're done playing. Yeah, because bar gigs, no, they don't hear you. You're just background music.
Yeah, I think it would be really challenging. Like, I know for comedians and like musicians as well. I have like one of my best friends. Like he doesn't live here in Vancouver anymore. He's back in Colombia. David Sosa is like an amazing guitarist, and I will probably have him on the podcast like on a video call. And yeah, we have talked about that. Like, and when you're playing, especially him, he's like a classical guitarist. He's like an amazing guitarist, like an amazing musician. But sometimes you're playing in a place where people are not ready for a classical guitarist
Yeah.
at that time
Mm-hmm.
because and they are talking and they are doing, and it's not the best
Yeah.
scenario for
Mm-hmm.
somebody that has spent so much time of their
Mhm.
life
Yeah.
studying just to give you the best performance, and then it's just like it's not
Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how it is as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So now, where are you with all these projects you have? Where are you? Where can I see you? Where can people see you here in Vancouver?
Well, we haven't even announced it, but whatever. We're playing at the Langley Jazz Festival, Omianan, on July 22nd, I think. I would have to double check.
Okay.
I can send you that in, but it's not until late July. So
Okay.
yeah, not anytime soon, like in these next coming months. And you can see me at the Jazz Festival this year at the Redgate Review stage. I think it's June 30th. With it's this artist is just fantastic. His name is Ron Samworth. It's with his new project. Like we recorded his music almost 1 year and a half ago, so I think it's finally gonna get released. Like it's really interesting how to see like the local musicians. Like once you get to know them, once you are at that stage where people do know you, like they're not posting constantly, hey, so I'm playing this time at the jazz festival, or hey, my album is coming in 3 months, I'm super excited. Like no, they just bam, big surprise, my album is out, or my album will be out tomorrow. Wow. So I still don't know if he's releasing his album on the day of the gig, again, June 30th. And and by the way, we play at 5 p.m. So yeah, review stage, June 30th, Jazz Festival. Yeah, at 5 p.m.
Having kids, how do you find the time, or when do you find the time to do your music, to compose, to rehearse, to do all the things a musician needs to do? Because I imagine it's like a constant, I mean, you have to do it every single day, or like, I know, very often, I imagine. Yeah. How do you find the time, and like what you do in order to be efficient and just be proactive, but at the same time be present in your in your like family with your kids and all that?
Yeah. Well, I am lucky enough as well to have the support from my wife, and basically, like, I'm the one these days, because my wife, again, like super pregnant right now. Like I'm waking up, I do the breakfast, I take my kids to school, to preschool, and by the time I get back home, like, okay, I take a shower, I now have my breakfast, and then I just go to my garage. In the garage, I have my drums, I have my computer, my monitors, like my electric piano, and I start writing music. I start to send applications. I start like to get the independent work, constantly sending emails, like emails. Let's see if I can get a contract. So contracting work is mostly independent work. So while my kids are in school, that's when I do the most. Emails, writing, practicing, recording. If I have to mix and master music for someone, which is something that I'm doing now as well because of the program I did at Langara College. I learned how to mix and master and compression and all of that craziness, whatever. But so yeah, while the kids are in school, I do all of that. Mostly 10 a.m. till 2:30 before I go and pick them up. They come back from school. I try to spend time with them and my wife from 3:30 until 6:30 or 7 when I put the little one to bed. And I don't know if I'm in a really like if I'm on a deadline to send, like, let's say the music for Heart, I would have always like, okay, I put the youngest one to bed. Okay, sorry, Pris, I need to go to work. So I will go to the computer, headphones, and compose, edit, post-production work, etc., and then just go to bed and repeat next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically, yeah.
And if you have like a presentation
Oh,
the evening, like
if it's a presentation thing, because thankfully, from working like with professional musicians, you don't need that many rehearsals, to be honest. One rehearsal, maybe two. Like the music with Ron Samworth, like we're just gonna have two rehearsals, the most. We might only have one, and that's it. But because everyone can sight read their own part, and there's a lot of interpretation, like I told you about, like we have the music, but they are improvising at the same time, so there's a lot of that. If they have a specific line that they have to learn, so we would rehearse, we would have mistakes, but then you take it home, you know your mistakes, work on them, and you better be on top of it at the time of the concert.
And then I guess also because it's improvisation, you will probably want that freshness of not being over rehearsed.
Yeah, exactly.
You want that? I saw a video of you on Instagram. I just back on Instagram after being off Instagram for like 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I have seen videos of you playing, like you put one the other day that says like, oh, rehearsing for, I think you had a presentation on that night, and you have like, I don't remember what it was, like just like you have like a towel or something and just different items and just making noises with whatever was available to you in that space. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's part of the free improvised music language.
Yeah.
Like I was practicing to get on shape to create those sounds. They are called extended techniques, which like I have to come up, like I have practiced that just by myself, creating noises, sounds, and constant sounds. So imagine doing that next to a guitar player who is also making sound, but you have to make music on the spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part, right? Trying to connect with that other person, or if it's 3 people in the band, just improvise and do free improvised music, which there's not even time. It's just sound. We could play something in time. It depends what the bass player does. But yeah, I was just getting ready for that. But those are
it's like warming up.
Yeah, but those are the 100% free improvised sets. Ron Samworth, yes, there's going to be some free improvised sections, but there's written music.
Yeah.
With openness of improvisation / following some rules so that the notes sound pretty in a way. But like, it's such a broad language, really. It depends on what you want to do. Yeah.
Have you ever recorded any of these improvisations? Like, not ever, but like lately, have you been recording? Do you record every time you have like a presentation so you can listen to after, or this just happens and whoever was there experienced that and that's it?
That's it. That's the beauty of it as well. Like if you want to experience it, you have to be there. They're not going to record it. Like it has happened. There have been like some recordings, but they don't do it that often, really. Also, like part of the contracts, like with Coastal Jazz and the Jazz Festival, like you shouldn't bring your recording gear because they already have their own mics set up for the sound guy, and that's their job. Like they're not going to record it for you. Like actually, Omianen played last summer at the Fire Hall Center, and the audio guy actually recorded it. So he sent me all the music stems, all the tracks, and I mixed and mastered it, and we released like 3 live songs from the whole set.
Okay.
So that's there, but it's not an official release as like in an album Bandcamp. Buy it. Here's a CD. Like no, like you can check it out on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, like that's where I discovered the song,
Mm-hmm.
like without restriction, the one that I'm using on the intro. Is that where you upload most of your music, or?
Yeah, like the music that I use like for like to expose myself and to get new works, yes, it's on SoundCloud. Like I always try to upload it on SoundCloud because again, like it's free. I can now mix and master my own tracks. I upload them and I can just send them to whoever I want to send it to. And yeah, like I'm not going to pay to release it on all streaming platforms just to see if I can get a gig. Like no, if I'm going to release something on all streaming platforms, it has to be an album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you coming here. I know it took longer than expected. I was just like running with many issues, like, but that's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's
you made
what
it
it
work.
is.
You made it work.
Thank
All
you.
fantastic.
Like
Yeah.
I enjoy your music very much. I will continue asking for music.
Okay. Hopefully, actually have a scene, and okay, I'm gonna write stuff, and you can send me notes.
Compose for it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Jesus Caballero, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Our Harmony,
Awesome.
everybody. Thank you.